Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Up right in corner we got Rancor, starting as the brown Zerg. Bottom left in corner we got Unco, starting as the very appropriate industrial gray. Wow, I couldn't say it all of a sudden. Industrial gray Terran. This is going to be on Metropolis, which can be, so the Mutalisks can do a lot of damage behind the lines, but at the same time, if Terran go, so the Terran drop option, so sometimes you go science vessels and continue to pile them up. Sometimes you get to drop ships. The dropship play, just because there's such a huge amount of space to drop on this map, I think that ends up being kind of a factor in the mid game. This area and this area. But so initially, Mutalisks diving in, maybe need to overbuild turrets along this edge, although you can filter through and build them across here. But beyond that, dropships always got to be in the back of the mind of any Zerg player. Game 1, if you did not watch it, I highly recommend it. It was very nutty back and forth. Both players playing very, very aggressively, and honestly, a few things going differently, and I think it would have got like just a few slight things here and there, and I think Rancor would have taken the match. Instead, went to Unco in a nail biter. Honestly, a little bit of a few things go differently. Another sunken colony, a few Zerglings, maybe some drones pulled a little bit earlier, maybe something else. And it would have been a completely different situation. We are seeing cross spawn once again. And again, I feel like this tends to lead to favorable positions for Terran. In particular, we saw game 1 where Rancor just didn't have the Overlords in position to notice the move out at various stages. The Zerglings eventually caught it. I think the Mutalisk also missed it at certain points. And you can see where having that lack of vision can completely switch up what's going on in the game. Drone going to scout bottom left. In the meantime, Unco has an SCV going upper left. I am curious if Unco's going to do... So let's see what happens. He doesn't have the double SCV scout going. But at cross position, he still should be safe going racks into expand once again. In the meantime, that looked like it was a 205... I'm going to just wild guess. 205, 206 gas. Indicator for 2-Ash Mutalisk opener once again out of Rancor. Pretty standard. I feel like this is the... I've been doing Hasuleauge for such a long period of time. Even in Ghostly League, I don't feel like I've gotten a good look at what's been more meta these days, particularly at the higher levels. So I wonder if this matchup's also in flux right this second. It feels like it should be. Overlord was spotted top right, so Unco knows the general location of his opponent's base, I believe. Although he's still got, maybe not, maybe he just went too short. He's got that SCV drawing, yeah, I think he just went a little bit too short. Marines killing the drone on the low ground. But at least Rancor knows where his opponent is located at the initial stages. Layer on the way, Unco going to be able to get a pretty decent timing of that. And once again, recognizing the cross position. Moving up with these 3 Marines, there's this Overlord that could take some shot on the edge. But they're 3 Marines. It's a tough micro battle versus 4 Zerglings, but they can win that. The risk is, and Unco needs to get the SCV back in position to see whether additional Zerglings were constructed, however, to get confirmation. The thing is, at cross position, that's maybe something you should expect. 4 Marines making the way towards that edge. And again, yeah, I like Unco going for this and exposing it. Rancor going to go ahead and pull drones right this second. That Overlord not going a little bit the wrong direction, so it's going to get picked off. Losing an early Overlord, that is huge. And these Marines should be able to escape all the way back now. A few additional Zerglings were queued up before that assault, but that's really going to kneecap Rancor's economy. Are the Zerglings going to go for a counter assault once they're finished? So we got 8 Zerglings, no bunker as of yet. Unco leaving that front door, and this is, so he's going to have probably 6 or 7 Marines by the time this assault force is forward. So he's still going to need to pull a few additional SCVs just in case. These are speed upgraded Zerglings as well, by the way. Spire there along that edge. Rancor still in the red. Let's see if he can get a good surround. The Marine Ball backing up to the high ground. Rancor can actually ignore the Marines right this second and go for some SCV kills. Yeah, opting to do so now. That'll draw the Marines out regardless, so a little bit of tit for tat. And Unco Also missing an opportunity by not dropping a bunker right there. So all of a sudden, Rancor, that Overlord, loss early, although Rancor pulling out. At least initially, gonna draw back in. Yeah, needs to make sure he sticks around. Wild aggression, both directions. One Marine going a little bit too far down the line. Now the SCV's trying to get a surround and make something happen, but that's going to open up the Zerglings to run all the way into the main. Going to get some free kills here. Might even be able to interrupt the gas. That is absolutely huge. And getting a big scout, sees that it's in fact 3 Racks Academy. Gonna sneak to the upper left, and also while all this is happening, do we have the engineering bay is completing, but if these Zerglings stay alive long enough, they might even be able to disrupt the turret, and this is also drawing the Marines somewhat out of position. So after all this, I think Unco still got the better part of that deal overall. As 16 drone, I think usually you want to be at 20, 22 around this stage of things. But Unco's SCV count is also very hobbled, which is going to cut into the potential turret construction. So it's an interesting situation where Rancor has to wait a little bit longer because of his early economic losses to get up to the 5 Mutalisk count you really want. But at the same time, the Zergling's still alive in here? Are you kidding me? I looked away for a minute because I thought that was... Finally, the SCV is able to defend themselves. Turrets building along that back edge, no turret along the barrack line. It is only 3 Mutalisks with a 4th trailing. It's gonna be a while before the 5th is able to join, and it looks like one of them taking some severe damage as they're making its way out. And Unco, making his way onto the map, is gonna end up losing a key medic. So this is now a 3 medic push instead of a 4 medic push, and dropping a stim right there, which is going to deplete one of the medics of their energy. Wondering if they ended up mixed on that SCV line. So we're a very odd mid-game now. So 2 turrets along that high field. No, okay, finally a turret protecting the barracks line. 1 turret towards the main. Another medic somewhat exposed, and another stim expended. We're now up to 8 Mutalisks. Oftentimes 10 tends to be the count where Zerg feels a little bit more comfortable aggressing here. 3rd turret and no protection otherwise. And Unco just diving. I think he wants another trade win here. But this time, and he needs to be very careful with this. These Marines are very, very deep. He's rolling on 3 medics, and one of them is very low energy. 2 of them are very low energy. Just dropped another stim. And Rancor's Mutalisks are now much more sizable in number. This is where having Marines out this far starts to get a little bit scary. Yeah, 0 energy on that one. We got 30 energy and 70 energy. It's not a lot to work with. Some Zerglings starting to creep their way forward on the field. This could end up with a crash situation. Some reinforcements trying to make their way across. The Mutalisk going to be able to push into that. Rancor having a little bit of trouble microing this, but going to clean it up fairly easily. And here comes the counterattack from Unco, but this time we got some Zerglings waiting along those lines. And Unco's got this medic marine ball somewhat trapped. So let's see, it might come down to some micro, but honestly, this amount of Mutalisks and Zerglings. Okay, now they've been spotted. They need to be very, very careful. If this gets wiped out, Unco's in a lot of trouble. That being said, Rancor is still playing it a little bit light and still hasn't grabbed a 3rd in the midst of this. Another big stim wandering out. Still just sitting on 8, by the way. 8 Mutalisks thus far. He's got another one, but hasn't fielded it just yet. Some SCVs wandering out, trying to find where those Mutalisks are headed. That Overlord at high risk, mid-map. This is kind of an interesting situation where because Unco was playing so aggressively in the mid-map, that Overlord was also the micro Overlord, I believe, for these Mutalisks. So look for them to start spreading, and Rancor needs to be very careful and regroup. Might be regrouped with all these Overlords accidentally right this second. And all of a sudden, Rancor looks like he's playing Crazy Zerg, but I feel like he's more forced into this. Reinforcing Mutalisk also caught on the line. We do have that 10 count. Unco playing very, very aggressively. Oh, able to wipe out 2 Mutalisks immediately on that engagement, which is huge. Does have +1 weapons, by the way. +1 weapons are finished on that Mutalisk. No 3rd up for Rancor. He's been starved out. And so the longer this now goes for Unco, and the more he can keep this Medic, I was a little bit concerned because of the lack of energy, but the energy's replenished. He's got a pretty, he's done a lot, honestly, off 3 racks. The control tower coming up at a decent time. Does he have the science facility? Science facility constructing as well. But Rancor is basically locked to 2. And the situation is he's just been on such a low drone count for such a long period of time. And hasn't really been able to get a sizable enough macro to contend with Unco here. So trying to micro against the front and get a delivery win. This is going to cause Unco to go for a counterattack. There are 5 sunken colonies here on the front. And I don't think 8 Mutalisks are going to be able to get past these turrets and the number of Marines that are on the front. They might be able to slow down the sunken colony briefly. More Mutalisks making their way out. We'll see if this shifts. Poking away at what they can. Getting a slew of Marines on that hit. Still 3 racks at close position. And the science facility, so we're gonna get to, yeah, the science facility actually needs to retreat if it's gonna remain useful. Actually doesn't end up with a radiate, and the science facility is gonna burn. So he's gonna have 2 science vessels, but nothing else. Weird situation. Full control group of Mutalisks. We got this army that's threatening, but Unco's tech has been halted. Trying to drop some additional barracks. He is at somewhat threat here. If Rancor can micro well enough with the Mutalisks he's got. Weird, weird, weird. Unco in the meantime is just way, way ahead economically. So if Rancor is going to win it, he's got to do it with just flat micro. More Marines getting pile drive. I feel like these are the turrets that would be key to focus on in the space of this. Just, yeah, wipe out the turrets that are sitting on the barracks line and just sit on top of the barracks line. Force the Marines to you into a bad subsidy engagement. In the meantime, Unco drawing all the units back. Going to go ahead and kick up the 9 o'clock, recognizing that if he just survives and deals with this Mutalisk ball, he will win. Unfortunately, the Micro Overlord going to get caught once again midfield, and several Mutalisks going to lose their lives. As more Mutalisks drop, Rancor's odds at taking this match continue to diminish. Zerglings a little bit disjointed from this army. It looks like that army mid-map. Big exchange. Only 5 Mutalisks remain, and I think that's going to be it. We got 8 Mutalisks, but the 9 o'clock is going to come up. We've got a bunch of science. We got a lot of science vessels. Need to wait on a radiate to research. More Marines filling in. Rancor still trying to do what he can at the natural. Building more Mutalisks, but going to GG right there, recognizing just economically he wasn't going to be able to keep up. Another nutty one between these two. Crazy. Fun to watch, though. Unco advances with the victory. We are now on to Swiss round 4. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.